Hello and welcome to No Win, No Fee, the show where all 12 of today's contestants are hoping to go home with £4,000, and I'm hoping they don't, because I do not get paid for presenting this show. If one of the people here takes that money, I go home with absolutely nothing. Zero. No win, no fee for me. And if you don't believe me, take a look at my contract. There it is in black and white. Remuneration. The presenter agrees that he shall receive no fee for providing the services. In fact, the only way I make anything is if they fail to get their hands on the money. And then I go home with £4,000. So let's meet the people who are standing in the way of me and my fee today. John, Gillian, Caroline, Emma, Mick, Tom, Mark, Martin, Linda, Richard, Dan and Keith. Now you're all complete strangers to each other. You barely met before the programme. All you really know about each other are those names. So this is going to be a game of assumption and presumption. I'm going to ask you to choose players you think are going to get a question wrong. It's sudden death and it's all about first impressions. There are 12 of you here now. I'm happy to say in a few minutes there are going to be just 6 of you left. We start by randomly choosing one of you. So who's good at reading people from those first impressions, their reaction to a question? Who's up first to choose that question? Mick, it's going to be you and me. Join me and choose your question. Happy to be up first?
Yeah, sure.
Choice of 2 questions. He sounds very confident. Which one's he going to go for, top or bottom? Which one is somebody here going to get wrong?
I'll go for the second one.
The bottom question. Take a look at their faces, watch their reactions as I read the question out. Who's going to get this wrong for you? Which 2 countries have only won the Football World Cup once? Keith is looking pensive. He might be bluffing, you might know it. Mark was quite happy about that. It's up to you, though. Don't let me influence you. Mick, the choice is yours.
Well, there's 1 or 2 of them bluffing, but I think it's going to have to be Linda.
Linda, he thinks you're going to get this one wrong. Join us and face your question. Doesn't look a football fan to you then, Mick?
I don't think so, somehow.
A lot of women follow the sport these days.
Yeah, there's something about the eyes and the reaction to the question.
OK, Linda, you have to get this one right to stay in the game. Which 2 countries have only won the Football World Cup once? Of course, she could guess the right answer, couldn't she?
I don't think she will.
You mean you hope she won't? Because the answer could come from anywhere. And if she's right, you're out. You've made the wrong choice.
Well, I've got to live with that.
Sudden death, Linda. A lot of money at stake, £4,000. Here's your question once again. Which 2 countries have only won the Football World Cup once? And I need both countries, of course.
One I'm sure of, the other one is a complete guess. I'm going to say England and France.
If England and France are the right answers, Linda, you stay in the game. If you're wrong, Mick takes his place in the next round. The answer is England and France. Linda, you are right. Which means, Linda, you are still in the game through to the next round. And Mick, commiserations, but I'm happy to say the final whistle's blown and you're out. Okay. And it's as simple and sudden as that. Who's up next to choose a question? Richard, how good are you at reading people from first impressions? Let's find out. Join me and choose your question. Oh, Mick was right about one thing. A lot of bluffing going on, I think. Which question do you fancy, top or bottom? A lot riding on this. £4,000. If you get it wrong, no chance of that for you.
The bottom question, please.
The bottom question. And remember, it's not what you know, it's what you think other people don't. Study their faces. Which British female singer's 1978 debut album was The Kick Inside? Tom's looking confident. What about Gillian? A little bit of shaking around the earrings.
Well, I'm going to go for Keith.
Keith, he thinks you're going to fail at this one. He wants you out. He thinks you're going to get it wrong. Join us and prove him wrong. Okay, Keith, here's the question. You have to get this right to stay in the game. Which British female singer's 1978 debut album was The Kick Inside? Take a bit of time. Still happy you chose him?
He may be bluffing me, actually. He may be taking his time because he really knows the answer, but hopefully I made the right choice.
I wonder if he's a good judge of character, Keith. Which British female singer's 1978 debut album was The Kick Inside?
Kate Bush.
The answer is Kate Bush. Keith, you are right. Which means, Keith, you're right to smile. You're still in the game. And Richard, I'm happy to say, because you hit a wrong note, you are out. 4 places left. Who's up next to pick an opponent? He looks almost relieved. I wonder if that relief will last. John, join me and choose your question. A choice of 2 as ever, top or bottom. Which one will one of the remaining 7 contestants get wrong? Up to you.
I think I'll go for the bottom one.
The bottom question.
Yes.
For a chance at £4,000, he's gone for the world of film. Study their faces. Which British comedian played the toy maker in the 1968 film Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? Dan is deep in thought. Is he going to find the answer? Mark's looking at me, not you. Is that significant?
Given the age of the film, I'm going to go for someone young, and I think I'll go for Emma.
Emma, you've been selected on the grounds of youth. Join us and face your question. Tough one for you, this, John, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm now thinking she's probably going to know it and scupper my plans.
Emma, you need to get this right to stay in the game and to get rid of John. Here we go. Which British comedian played the toy maker in the 1968 film Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
She's smiling,
Might possibly be a bluff, though, mightn't it? Might be a guess.
I don't know.
I'm going to go for a guess. I don't even know if it's his name, actually. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but Mike Spilligan?
Mike Spilligan.
Have I just made a name up?
If Mike Spilligan is the answer, you're through to the next round. If you're wrong, you're out. The answer is... it's close. Benny Hill. You're wrong. Which means, John, you're through to the next round. And Emma, it's tough up here. Commiserations, but I'm happy to say you're out. We're whizzing along. I'm having fun. We're halfway through round 1. Who's up next to choose a question? And it's Dan. Dan, are you going to be in or out? We're going to find out after you choose your question. There's your choice of 2. You've seen how it works. Would you rather be picking a question or answering one, would you say?
Ooh, probably answering, actually.
Got to choose this time. The lights have decided.
I think I'll go for the bottom question.
The bottom question. From the world of literature. Study their faces. Only 5 people to choose from. Got to pick somebody to get this wrong. Who wrote the novel Black Beauty? None of them look overjoyed at the prospect of being called up here for that one, Dan,
No.
so they're not helping you much.
No one's skipping and dancing, are they? But I'm going to go for Mark.
Mark, he thinks he's got the measure of you. He thinks you're going to get this one wrong. Join us and face your question. Just a pure guess, or was there any kind of method in your madness?
No method, pure madness.
OK, Mark, you've got to get this right to stay in the game. Get it right, and Dan's out. Here's your question. Who wrote the novel Black Beauty? Would you have known this? Could be bluffing then.
Could be.
I think I know the surname. I think the surname's Sewell. Yeah, Sewell. I can't think of the first name.
I'm going to give you a bit more time because I'm not confirming whether that is the surname, but I do need the full name.
I'll go with my first instinct, which was Jane Sewell.
The surname is Sewell, and the first name is Anna. So, Mark, you're wrong. Very tense, but that means, Dan, I think you were lucky. You're still in the game through to the next round. And, Mark, genuine commiserations, but I'm also happy to say you're out. Sudden death, and we're very strict. 4 contestants, only 2 places left to head towards my £4,000. Who's up next? Caroline, you've avoided being picked by one of your opponents. Join us and choose your question. You must be feeling a bit nervous.
A little bit, yes.
Choice of questions, top or bottom. Which one is one of the remaining 3 contestants going to get wrong?
Oh, I'm going to have to choose the top one.
The top question. Do you know the answer?
I have an idea, but I know the bottom one, so I'm going to go for the top one.
Here's the question she's picked for one of you 3. What sport is played by the New Jersey Devils and the Florida Panthers? None of them have moved a muscle.
I'm going to be very sexist, and I'm going to go for Gillian.
Gillian, she thinks she's got the measure of you. She wants you out. Join me, prove her wrong, and face your question. Sexist in the way of what? Working on the basis that females might not know about sport of any kind?
I was working on that as my basis, so...
Right.
Yeah.
Gillian, take your time. Somebody's got to go. Only one of you can stay. What sport is played by the New Jersey Devils and the Florida Panthers? Of course, you might guess the right answer. Wouldn't that be terrible to lose the chance at £4,000 on a lucky guess?
Yes, it would.
Awful, wouldn't it? Do you want to share any possibilities with us, Gillian?
Well, there's baseball and there's ice hockey. I think I might go for ice hockey. Just
Ice
a thought.
hockey?
Yeah.
The answer is ice hockey. Gillian, you are right. Which means, Gillian, you go through to the next round.
Okay.
And Caroline, oh dear.
Thanks very much, anyway.
I'm happy to say you're out. One place between 2 people. But who is going to answer a question and who is going to choose that final question? Who's coming up first? Martin. You've only got the choice of one opponent, but you can choose between 2 questions for him. Join me and choose that question. There are your questions. Tom, of course, is very impassive. Which of those 2 questions is he going to get wrong, top or bottom? At least you have a chance to weigh him up a bit, to study his reactions.
Bottom one.
The bottom question, Tom. In the interest of fairness, we're going to give you a bit of thinking time after I'd asked this. You stay there until we call you up. Here's your question. Who played Vivian in the cult comedy The Young Ones? He's obviously trying to remember the series and also the cast list. Tom, it's that time. Will you join us and face your question? So you think he's vulnerable when it comes to cult comedy?
No, but I'm struggling with it.
I'm afraid the pressure's now on you, Tom. You have to get this right to stay in the game. I'll read the question for you again. Who played Vivian in the cult comedy The Young Ones?
I remember the programme.
That's a
I
start.
remember the 3 main characters.
OK.
I know the actors' names.
Yeah.
I can't remember the characters' names. Which one played which character?
What actors' names can you remember, maybe?
Ade Edmondson, Rick Mail, Nigel Planer.
No clues, we're not going to confirm or deny whether any of those names are right. It's up to you, Tom.
Rick Mail.
If Rick Mail is the right answer, you stay in the game. If it's wrong, Tom, Martin takes your place. The answer is Ade Edmondson. Tom, you're wrong. Martin is relieved. You're right to feel relieved and lucky. Martin, you get the last place in the final round. Tom, commiserations, but I'm happy to say you're out. And well done to all 6 of you for getting this far. You've each managed to eliminate one opponent, either because you're a good judge of character, you're clever, or you're just plain lucky. But let's hope you've been paying attention to everybody else's strengths and weaknesses, because now it's time for you to go head-to-head with each other. And, of course, with me. Because if none of you win, I put £4,000 in my pocket. Otherwise, I get nothing at all for presenting the show today. So I hope it's no win, no fee for you, as we all move just a little closer to that money. And in round 2, things get decidedly trickier. Judgment of character is now crucial. You choose an opponent before hearing the question. I then read that question, and to stay in the game, you tell me if you think your opponent is going to get it right or wrong. As always, we start by randomly choosing one of you. Somebody's going to join me and then pick out somebody whose character they've assessed, whose face they can read like an open book, somebody they think they've sussed out. Who's up first to pick an opponent? Gillian, are you a good judge of character? Let's find out as I ask you to choose your opponent. Now, I think you might be one to watch because you got your question right last time, and I think you were bluffing. But you're not going to see any question at all this time until you've picked somebody you can read like an open, well-thumbed book. It's simple. You pick an opponent, I read them a question, you tell me whether they're going to get it right or wrong. Who's it going to be? Who have you sussed out?
I'm going to go for Martin.
Martin, you're her kind of guy. Maybe she wants you out of the game. Join us and face your question. Now, Martin, as ever, you must get this question right to stay in the game. Before you answer, Gillian's going to tell me whether she thinks you're going to get it right or wrong. Here's the question. Watch his face, read his reactions. Which soap opera is set in Beckindale? Is he a soapy kind of dude?
Yeah, he'll know that. Better. Yes, he'll definitely know that.
Are you convincing yourself there?
Possibly. I'm having a rethink now.
You see, and don't let me influence you, but if you say he's going to get it right and he fails miserably, he's out and you're out too, and I'm very happy.
Yeah, you will be, won't you?
2 for the price of 1.
Yeah, I think he knows that.
Which soap opera is set in Beckindale, Martin?
Right. Let's discount EastEnders, Coronation Street, Emmerdale, Brookside. I think there's one called Family Affairs. I think I'll go for Family Affair.
If that's the right answer, you're still in the game, and so is Gillian. If you're wrong, you are both out. The answer is Emmerdale. Martin, you are wrong. Which means I'm happy to say to both of you, with no little jubilation, sit down, you're out. It can be that savage and seem that unfair, but it's not unfair. You've got to earn that £4,000. You need a right answer or a right prediction to stay in the game. Who's a good judge of character? Who's up next to choose an opponent? Oh, Keith, it's that magic moment when you and I share some quality time. Join me and choose your opponent. You did well. You got your question right. I think you're a bit of a bluffer, but are you a good picker?
I'll choose Dan.
Dan. Maybe he's placing his faith in you, maybe he can see right through you. Join me and face your question. We're all quite close to the money. Why have you picked Dan?
I don't really know, but I don't know, he seems quite clever for a young one.
Dan, here is your question. What is the name of the village where Postman Pat does his rounds? Is he going to get this right or wrong?
I say I'll get it wrong.
I'm glad you can laugh at the prospect of losing £4,000 because I think he's going to get it right. However, I'm biased. If you say he's going to get it right and he gets it wrong, he's out, you're out. So don't let me sway you, right or wrong.
I won't let you sway me now. No, I'll stick to that. I'll say I'll get it wrong.
Dan, if you do get this wrong, you sit down because you'll be out. But if you're right, we get rid of Keith. Here's your question. What is the name of the village where Postman Pat does his rounds?
It's got Dale at the end of it. I seem to remember that. So many Dales around. Emmerdale, Swaledale, Beckendale earlier. Gonna go for Skelmersdale?
Skelmersdale.
Ah, that's wrong, isn't it?
Oh.
Is that the answer you give me, Dan?
Yeah, kiss goodbye to £4 grand. Skelmersdale.
If Skelmersdale is right, you're still in the game. If it's wrong, Keith has pushed you out. The answer is Greendale. Dan, you are wrong. Which means, Keith, you're still in the game, back in line, good judge of character. And Dan, commiserations,
Thanks.
but
Cheers,
I'm
mate.
happy to say I'm giving you the sack. Sit down, you're out.
Oh, cheers, mate.
So goodbye, Dan. 3 contestants still with me. All of us in the running for £4,000. So who's up next to pick an opponent? And it's John to join me and choose an opponent. Very simple question for you. Keith or Linda? Who do you want to answer a question on your behalf?
Linda.
Linda, it's your turn to face your question. You've all done well to get this far, but Linda, to stay in the game, you must answer this question correctly. Before you answer, John is going to tell us whether you're going to get it right or wrong. Here it comes. Mozambique was a colony of which European country? What are your first impressions, John, right or wrong?
My first impressions are it's one that you could very easily get wrong, but it's one that she may know and may have tucked away. I'm going to say wrong.
Linda's going to get this wrong.
I very much doubt it, but somebody's got to get one wrong, and I just hope hope it's Linda this time.
Okay, maybe you can't take the pressure, Linda. Maybe he just wants a decision. But I need an answer from you, and it has to be, for your sake, a right answer. Mozambique was a colony of which European country?
I've got 2 in my mind. I'm not sure of either of them. I'm going to go for Portugal.
If Portugal is the right answer, then John sits the rest of the game out. It is Portugal. Linda, you are right. Which means, back in line, you're still in the game. And John, commiserations, a brave man. I'm almost unhappy to say, sit down, you're out. So just 2 people left to try and take £4,000 away from me. Who's up first? Keith will be predicting. Linda will have to answer a question for £4,000. Will you please both join me now? So we're all still in the running. A lot of money at stake. Last question of the game for £4,000. Linda, you have to get this right to stay in with a chance of that money. Before you answer, Keith has got to predict whether you're going to get it right or wrong. Here's your question. At which racecourse is the 1,000 Guineas run? A very thoughtful face, but you're not really looking at it. What's going through your mind, Keith?
I don't know, I think horse racing is one of those sports that's artificially kept popular by television. I don't think really many people know much about it.
Don't let me sway you.
I think she'll get it wrong.
Linda, he doesn't think he'll know this. You need to get it right to win £4,000. Here is your question. One thing's certain though, I'm going home with absolutely nothing from the show today. It's either Linda or Keith. At which racecourse is the 1,000 Guineas run?
He's quite right, I don't know, so it's going to be a guess. And I'm going to say Ascot.
The answer is Newmarket. Linda, you are wrong. Which means commiserations, but sit down, you are out, Linda, because Keith has won £4,000. And he's smiling. I hope it's not because I'm getting absolutely nothing from the show today.
No.
Where are your winnings going?
I've always fancied using a bit of desktop publishing and see if I can start my own magazine about the theatre, so I'll look into that.
Watch out for that, and watch out for this show the next time we're on your television. No win, no fee. Who's going to get the cash next time? Thanks for watching.